All right, today we're going to build something really important, an indestructible fortress, and it's going to be right inside your own mind. Let's dive in.
I mean, just listen to that for a second. A browser with 47 tabs open. Wow. Does that hit home for you? It's that feeling, like your brain's CPU is just maxed out and there's this constant noise you just can't seem to turn off.
Yeah, I'm guessing it does. It's like the soundtrack to our modern lives, right? And it is absolutely exhausting. But here's a wild thought. What if most of that noise, that chaos, is something we're actually creating ourselves?
So let's start right there. Let's talk about the problem itself, the overwhelmed brain.
Just think about your day-to-day, the news, the traffic, that weird email from your boss. We act like every single one of these things is a personal attack, you know? Like it's our job to wrestle every little problem into submission.
And we have this crazy idea, don't we, that if we just worry harder, if we stress about it more, we can somehow bend reality to our will. But it's a rigged game. I mean, it's a game you're literally designed to lose. The good news? Someone figured this out a long, long time ago, and he found a way to just stop playing.
So that brings us to the story of a man with a limp, a guy who found total freedom in a situation where he had, well, basically none.
So let's meet Epictetus. Now, before he was this legendary philosopher, he was a slave. And get this, his name, Epictetus, literally just means acquired or purchased. It wasn't even a name, it was a price tag. And he was a slave in the court of Nero, owned by a master who was known for being particularly cruel. So one day, his master, just for kicks, just to see what would happen, starts twisting his leg. This wasn't for some mistake Epictetus made. No, this was pure sport. A sick way to pass the time. And can you even imagine this? As his leg is being twisted, Epictetus just looks at his master and calmly says, "You're going to break it." No screaming, no pleading, just a simple statement of fact. And then, snap, the bone broke, just like he said it would. And this is the part that gives me goosebumps. Epictetus just looks up again and says, "See? I told you it would break." Think about that for a second. He was completely detached. It's not that he didn't feel the pain, but his mind, his spirit, was untouched. He knew he couldn't stop his master from twisting, so why waste energy fighting it in his head? Because in that horrible moment, he had this incredible realization. His master could break his bones, but he couldn't break his will. He couldn't touch his inner self. He had found it, an indestructible fortress right there inside his own mind. Okay, so that's a pretty intense story, but how do we build that same fortress? Well, it starts with a really simple tool, something Epictetus taught that you can start using today. It's all about your two circles of control. The fancy term for it is the dichotomy of control, but don't let the name intimidate you. Think of it like a sorting mechanism for your brain. Every single thing that happens, every worry, every thought, goes into one of two buckets. In the first bucket, the in your control bucket, is a pretty short list. It's basically your own thoughts, your reactions to things, the intentions you set, and the effort you put in. That's it. That's your kingdom. And in the other bucket, well, that's pretty much everything else in the universe. The economy, the traffic, your reputation, what other people decide to do, all of it is outside the walls of your fortress. Okay, but I know what you're probably thinking right now. Hold on a second. I can control my health, right? I go to the gym, I eat well, and yeah, that's the number one pushback people have on this idea. And here's the subtle but absolutely crucial difference. You can influence your health, but you can't control it. Think about it. The effort you put in, going to the gym, choosing the salad, that's 100% in your circle. But the final outcome, a sudden illness, genetics, that's not. So your job is to focus like a laser on your effort, and then you have to learn to let go of the result. It's a tough pill to swallow, but it's where freedom lies. And this paradox, this idea of giving your all but accepting the outcome, it's not just a practical life hack. It actually goes much, much deeper. Now, no matter what you believe spiritually, the story from the Garden of Gethsemane is an incredibly powerful metaphor for this exact idea. You have Jesus facing the ultimate thing I cannot change, his own death. And he's afraid. He actually prays for a different outcome. But then he says this one little word that changes everything. Nevertheless.
He says, "Nevertheless, not my will, but yours be done." That one word, that's the whole philosophy right there. It's the pivot point. That nevertheless is the moment you stop fighting reality and start aligning yourself with reality. And let's be super clear. This is not about being a doormat. It's not about giving up. It's the opposite. It's about becoming a master navigator of life instead of trying to fight the ocean currents. That's real power. Okay, so this all sounds great for ancient philosophers and epic stories, but what about, us in our normal lives? Well, this isn't just theory. It's a practical superpower. Let's look at the promotion problem. So here's Dave. Step 1, he's completely obsessed with getting this promotion. The promotion is an outcome, right? It's not in his control. And the result? He's a wreck, constant anxiety. Then step 2, Dave makes the shift. He says, okay, I can't control the promotion, but I can control how well I do my job. He focuses only on his effort. And what happens? His anxiety vanishes. He's more creative. He's happier at work. And then here comes the paradox in step 3. He ends up getting the promotion. But by that point, he doesn't even need it anymore to be happy. He's already found his peace. So that brings us to the big question. How do you do this? How do you take this ancient idea and use it to become, well, truly invincible in your own life? All right, here's your homework. It really comes down to this. Your only real job is to manage what's inside your own fortress. So you have to constantly be that guard at the gate, asking of every worry, is this up to me or not up to me? If the answer is yes, if it's in your control, then you give it everything you've got. Make the best use of your power. But if it's not, you have to practice taking the rest as it happens. You have to let it go. And seriously, stop trying to play God. You're not qualified, and frankly, the job comes with way too much stress. So, I'll leave you with this final question to think about. That feeling of stress, of anxiety, of being overwhelmed. What if it's not some noble burden you have to carry? What if it's just a tantrum? A tantrum because reality isn't obeying you. Just sit with that for a minute. The answer, well, it might just be the key that unlocks your fortress.